Hi, I'm Rinchen and today I'm going to talk about the new camera from Canon. So Canon announced a new camera. It is not just a new camera, it is a new system. So this camera have a new mount, new adapters and new lenses. So this is really a turning point for Canon camera history. And this is really interesting for us, the customer. But inside of this camera, the sensor is 2.5 years old. It's took from Canon 5D Mark IV. We are not talking about human life, we are talking about digital life. In digital world, 2.5 years quite old. So we can consider this camera is like a new baby have an old man brain. And this camera have flip screen. Wow! This feature is missing from competitors like Nikon Z6 and Sony A7 III. This is a really nice feature for vloggers. But this camera 4K video is cropped. Not only just cropped, it is cropped 1.7. So if you want to use for vlogging this camera, then you must have a fisheye lens. Otherwise you will be out of the frame. So, and this camera have dual pixel autofocus from Canon. That feature is really amazing, and this camera also have that feature. But in terms of video, this camera's autofocus is not smooth and fast as the 1DX Mark II or Canon C200. Some people said it can be changed in the settings. But if you're using the fast detection autofocus in this camera, then there is no chance to increase the speed and smooth. So in terms of video, I really wouldn't buy this camera because of the dual pixel autofocus. In terms of photo, this camera have 30 megapixel, which is great. But in continuous shooting autofocus, this camera does not have that capability that rivals have. Like a Nikon Z6 can capture 12 frames per second continuous shooting autofocus. And the Sony A7 III can capture 10 frames per second continuous autofocus. But if you want continuous shooting autofocus with this camera, then you can have only 5 frames per second. This camera can capable only 5 frames per second continuous shooting. So apparently this camera is not for sports. And I wouldn't recommend this camera for wedding photographer, because wedding photographer requires more frame than this camera. Because the first kiss and releasing the bouquet, you will miss a lot of great moments with this camera because of the lack of continuous shooting. And this camera got another killing feature, which I really didn't expect it from Canon. But they gave a really great feature. Yeah, this feature is a multifunctional touch bar window. This is great, But they took out the joystick from this camera because of this window. I myself really enjoying with the joystick, and I think other photographers also do. So for myself, I really prefer the joystick over this window because this new window is really hard to get and use. And the second reason, if you put your hand gloves with your hands, then this window is not going to work. So losing joystick from this camera is really big loss for me.